Hello. This week we went through, or I did it again. Well, I'm actually a little bit sick, so you know that sucks. It was kind of hard to read the last portion of the book because my head was kind of splitting, but we got through it. Uh, Last week we read The Little Prince in French. Not to flex or anything, but yeah, it was a pretty good book. Definitely not what I thought it would be because in my head, when I read it the first time, it was like in school and it was like, oh, this is a children's book. And also, we spent way too long analyzing the first chapter. Um, I think as a book, actually, it's quite solid. It's really old. I think at least from talking to my friend, the English translation is cleaned up a little in terms of the language they use. Um, because I mean, Canadian French and France French is different. So, you know, I wouldn't. I guess it is fun to read in another language that's not your native one, but uh, maybe it's probably gonna be more enjoyable reading it in English if you're a native English speaker. Um, well, let's go into my notes, I guess. Uh, sorry for the coughs. Um, the classic hat boa thing. I rolled my eyes. The adults tell me to focus on real things, not art. None could see the boa and the elephant. Like, oh, okay, alright, bro. I thought it was silly that the prince enjoyed the box and he could see the private vision. Also, I thought the book was short, not 100 pages. In my head, this was a children's book, right? But it is definitely not a children's book. Loki, he cooked about when he wrote about the quantitative nature of human response. Like they don't, like your parents don't ask like, oh, what's your friend's favorite new game? They would say like, oh, how old are they? Like, to make sure you're not like talking to like some 20-year-old. But you know, and it's also easier to visualize like, oh, it's a really nice house, or like it's $1 million house. Right? $1 million house, you can kind of build that vision. I think one really interesting thing about this book is like, I don't know, I didn't know, but it's like vaguely based off of his real life hallucinations, which kind of cool. So far, I wrote that my French is very washed, which it took me way too long to read the book. It was kind of embarrassing. I felt like a toddler. Um, mm, when he said that you might be asking where the other grand pictures are. Well, I tried and failed. That was so real. That was real. The day of 43 sunsets, that two-line convo was tough. Holy aura when he was like, so were you sad? And he just didn't respond like, the country of tears, or pays des larmes. I'm terrible at French. That was raw af, is what I wrote down. Tragic love story, vaguely remember the flower thing was so dumb and kind of, but maybe it's because I like whimsy, and I do like whimsy. The next day, the king that makes reasonable demands, the commentary on how people want to feel in control and important, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is a children's book. Who is this for? In my head. Vanity Man, like, okay, this one I didn't completely understand. Like, he tipped his hat every time the Prince clapped. I don't know if I'm misreading the language, but, like, what else to slap his hands against each other? The drunkard who drinks to forget his shame of drinking. That's tough. The businessman who owns the stars is like Aurelian Sol from League of Legends. The lamplighter is about as brazen of a metaphor as you can get for a wage slave. An order is an order. You can always stay up more by walking more, but you can never truly rest. Oh, holy aura. Ephemeral plant. Holy aura. I didn't even know that was a word in French. I Google translated that one. I was like, holy. Yeah, and then they dropped the hard R. When he hears his own echo and says, the men lack imagination, they only repeat what they're told. Over at my place, I had a flower, and she always spoke first. That was low-key fire writing. The whole Fox Rose, Sea of Roses crazy chapter. Not really a children's book, I don't know. Actually, I guess it's just in my head. I don't know if an actual my head. Yeah, some men plant 5,000 flowers, never find the rose. Oh, okay, buddy. Author's low-key mentally ill, but it's kind of tough. Oh, the pill that removes your need for water. What would you do with the extra 53 minutes? I'd go to a water fountain. Holy, oh, yeah. Um, the book was overall really enjoyable, and I would recommend reading. Next week, I don't know what I'm reading, but it'll be a good surprise for whoever watches these, I guess. And yeah, that's everything. I hope you enjoy the background footage of me getting my ass beat in Elden Ring.